Hi, it's Logan with LSK Landscape. Thanks for watching. So today we're going to go over our Harbor Freight Sandblast cabinet. We did 6 modifications to it to help improve it, make it a lot better. We use it quite a bit for our landscape and snow removal business. Really comes in handy for cleaning up parts and miscellaneous items and all that. So the 6 modifications we're going to go over today is 1, the lighting. 2, we're going to go over the glass that we installed to make it a lot easier to see in. 3, we're going to go over how we made this thing all mobile and stuff. Make it super easy to roll around the shop. 4, we're going to go over our metering valve that we have set up. We'll show you how we did that, parts and all that we used. 5, we're going to go over how we made it a foot operated machine. And then 6, how we filter and make sure that you can actually see what you're doing when you're using Sandblaster. So let's get into it. One thing we wanted to go over real quick is the very beginning, before you do like any of these modifications and stuff, what you want to do with the Sandblast cabinet as you're building it is Harbor Freight does provide you with like a foam roll. It's sort of kind of like this, you know, it's pretty cheap. It's just foam, one-sided. They give you a roll of it. If you have enough, great. If you don't, you can always just get more. But I highly recommend any part where you're connecting a metal panel to a metal panel, install that foam in every little space. Here, up top. These seams here where this all gets connected and screwed. Basically anywhere you gotta screw 2 panels in, you want some kind of foam, or even I use silicone, you know, like along here and stuff. You want to put foam and /or silicone in there to seal it up real tight so you don't have media and all that going everywhere. So that's just one tip you want to do when you're building the cabinet. Yeah, so for the lighting, what we actually use is we got these from Harbor Freight. They're pretty cheap, LED, like light pucks. I mean, they're pretty decently bright, nothing fancy. They're charged by 3 AAA batteries, magnetic on the bottom. So that's what we use. We use 4 of them. We put them in the Sandblast cabinet here. I'll show you real quick where we put them. Just put them in the 4 corners of the actual cabinet. And then we'll show you what it looks like when they're all turned on here.
You may want to stick something in there.
So as you can see, you know, it's pretty bright for what it is. A lot cheaper than any kind of thing you can find online. And what's nice about the pucks and all that is, like, you know, over time with that Sandblast media, it's gonna scuff it all up, you know, make it pretty dull. Not as like bright or anything like that, but what's nice is these are cheap. I think like $4 a piece, so you can literally go to Harbor Freight, get 4 brand new ones, and you're back in business. So we like those a lot. And then next we're going to talk about the actual glass here. So at Harbor Freight gives you right from what you get in the package is they just give you like a thin plastic piece, and then they give you sort of kind of like a plastic coating that you're supposed to stick on the inside here, and that's supposed to protect it and all that. But we found it's like really annoying with that. It's just, you know, over time and pretty quickly, those plastic things like to get all scratched up right away. They don't really last. And it's super annoying to have to constantly take this on and off to replace that. So what we came up with for a strategy and a solution is using what here. Instead of having to constantly, you know, put a bolt in and you have to use a nut, instead of having to try to reach all the way in there and do all that, what we did, we modified this plastic part. What we did here is we installed 1/4 inch standard nuts and bolts and all that. So now these are actually studded. So on the inside here, you know, you got your bolt that goes all the way through the hole. You had a clamp down with the nut. And then what we did here is, you have to imagine, but when you get yours or what have you, you're gonna have this plastic rings that are gonna be all the way up top. And what all you have to do is you just take a drill bit, you drill them out so that when you put this on, this nut will clear into the plastic and lay flush. And then along with that, we got rid of that plastic and we actually went to our local glass shop you know, for doors, windows, and what have you, for any kind of glass needs. And we just had them actually cut us out some tempered glass that fits our blast cabinet. The tempered glass is a lot nicer, holds up a lot better, doesn't get scratched as easily. And overall, I mean, we're just a lot happier with it. It's like 10, 12 bucks to get a piece, so it's really affordable, really cheap, and you know, you really can't beat it. Then what we also did here is we installed 2 layers of foam. And this was just, you know, keep it sealed up, keep it airtight, not have sand go everywhere. We've had this blast cabinet for a couple years now and have no complaints. But as you can see, you just put this back on like that. You put some washers, you put some nuts, tighten it all down, you're good to go. It's pretty quick. And then these are the dimensions for that glass if you want to, you know, get your own. We've got 1/8 inch thick glass, 24 inches long, and then 12 inches wide. Another modification we did is we upgraded the actual sandblast gun that you get. The one that you get from Harbor Freight, it's kind of a piece of junk. It really doesn't work that well. Clogs up all the time. I mean, I throw it out. It really isn't worth the hassle. What we got instead is we got a Scat Blast sand gun. This works a heck of a lot better, worth every penny. I think it was a little over $100 to get it, but it's worth it, to be honest. What you originally get with the Scat Blast gun is you get this tubing right here. So that's what you get with the Scat Blast gun. It works a heck of a lot better because they've actually got it designed out where it ventilates properly with these holes that they have in certain places, and they've got this pinched off. And this works really well in that you don't really ever get clogs with it. It's safe and smooth and consistent, so I would 100% recommend this setup. It's a lot better than what you get at Harbor Freight, because all this does is it just gets shoved into the media. This gets hooked up to your gun. You still have the same air inlet and everything that comes with the Harbor Freight gun. So it's a really easy modification, and it's a really nice modification. I recommend it. Now it's also nice with getting this kind of setup that we figured out is you can actually use this as a gun that you can use outside. What we've done here is we've actually taped this so this trigger is always open at the moment because we got it set up to be used by the pedal. But if we ever want to use it outside, you know, to do bigger parts that won't fit in this cabinet, all we have to do is take off the tape, hook this tube back up into here, stick this in a 5-gallon bucket with media. And then we also did this. We just took a 3/8 inch hose. We put a female air fitting 1/4 inch adapter right on that. We cut this end. So now all we gotta do is just hook this up the same way that it's hooked up on this gun. And we can use it for bigger parts outside too. So that's really nice how it's basically a 2-in-1 for us. So this is how we get air into the sandblaster. So what we got going on here is we've got a water separator that we got at Harbor Freight actually. It's 1/4 inch NPT or 1/4 inch NPT going in, 1/4 inch NPT going out. And it goes into this air pressure regulator, which we also got at Harbor Freight. It's their 1/4 inch NPT. So, you know, both in and out are 1/4 inch, your standard air fittings. And with Sandblaster, what you want it to be at is between 90 to 100 PSI. And with this, it's super easy. All you gotta do is you lift up, you twist to the right to increase the pressure, twist left to decrease, and then you can lock it in place so it doesn't move on you. What we did here is we actually made it a quick disconnect. So if you ever gotta, you know, maybe replace something or change out the filter or what have you, we've got pretty easy access to it. Don't gotta worry about hoses or nothing. We do like the idea of putting a 90-degree fitting here along with your inlet here. It just means that hose, whenever you plug it in, it's gonna droop down out of the way, so you never have to worry about tripping over it or anything like that. For the hose here, we use 3/8 inch hose. We use 3/8 inch hose, air hose throughout the whole thing here, so it's all one. We got this on Amazon. It's a 6-foot length hose that you can get Goodyear. We'll link it in the description there for you so you can order it online pretty quick. And all we did to mount this is it comes with a standard mounting bracket here. So all we did is literally just drilled the 2 holes and then bolted it right to this leg. Nice and sturdy, it ain't going nowhere. And we'll just go to the foot. Alright, so now we're going to talk about how we hooked up the foot pedal here. So what you got your 3/8 inch air hose that comes out of your regulator. What we did for routing is we routed it right between here on the Sandblast cabinet, so right through that hole. Snakes down, we had it attached with a zip tie to that leg. And then it comes right into the actual foot pedal. Here's the foot pedal that we use, got it off Amazon, we'll link it down below for you guys. And how this foot pedal works is it's got 3 different holes in it. Now how this works is you take what you're feeding the foot pedal, where you're pushing the air through, and this goes in the very bottom hole. It's in a triangle, so the very bottom hole is where you actually put your feed line in. And then the top 2 are the ones that control, where the air goes and all that. And how how you have it with the Sandblaster is you just need one of those. Otherwise you get back pressure and all that if you have both open, and you're not going to be happy with it. So all you gotta do is you gotta plug one of these holes. Doesn't matter which hole, just one of them with a 1/4 inch plug. And then you'll have to get another 6 foot. We got another 6 foot 3/8 inch hose here. You thread it in, and then that gets routed behind the Sandblaster onto this leg, zip tied, and then it gets fed up right up into where the Sandblast cabinet feeds into that main air line. You've got this on a quick disconnect, and you get this piece automatically with the Harbor Freight kit. We just reused it because it works perfectly fine. And you just get a 90-degree brass 1/4 inch NPT fitting. You thread that up, you thread your connector, you got all that. And on the inside, all you need is a 1/4 inch female that goes into this one, or it might be male. I have to check that out, but it might be either one. And then you just have to make sure that it's 3/8 inch of a hose bar bend. This is what this is. This is 3/8 inch. So you push it in, and then you lock it down with the clamp, and then you're all set to go there. Alright, so this is our metering valve here. We'll list all the parts and stuff in the description for you, so you don't really have to try to remember or piece it all together. But we'll explain it to you anyway. So what we got here is we've got a 1 inch weatherproof conduit box connector that we drilled into this Harbor Freight plate. And what's nice about that is it's weatherproof, so it's got a nice rubber seal here, O-ring, that gets squished when you tighten it all up, so it keeps the media and stuff in there. And then we've got a 1 inch nipple that goes into a T fitting, and the T fitting is 1 inch, and then reduces down to 3/4. We've got a 1 inch nipple to plug it on the bottom. We got a 3/4 inch nipple that goes into another 3/4 inch T with a 1/2 inch reducer on the top. And then we've got a nipple here, 1/2 inch nipple that goes into a 1/2 inch to 3/8 reducer. And then on the very top we've got our 3/8 valve here that controls how much air and all that's metered. And then on the very end here, on the 3/4 inch end, we've got a 3/4 inch by 5/8 hose bar bend that connects our 5/8 inside diameter hose that gets fed up through this shelf on the Sandblast cabinet. You've got an O-ring here that we put that just helps to keep the hose and all that from getting scratched or cut or what have you, because this is pretty thin metal, so it's going to leave a sharp edge when you make your hole big enough for it. And then that gets fed into the Sandblast cabinet with another hole with another grommet. Ignore this. This was our first attempt. We accidentally made the hole a little too big, so we got a rubber plug and we plugged that all up. And then on the inside of the cabinet, what we had to do is we just had to cut a nice little square in here, and what that allows you to do is it just allows that hose to move off freely and not get jammed up or anything like that. So That's what we did there to get the metering valve. And what's really nice about the metering valve is you're constantly going to have sand available for it because it's at the very bottom of the Sandblast cabinet. Because with the Sandblast cabinet here on the inside, sand likes to, build up around all the edges, and it likes to stick on the sides. It doesn't always like to go straight down into the middle. It likes to kind of hang on the edges. And what's really annoying with this is, you got this in the middle or what have you, kind of on the side, and you have to constantly kind of just shift that around to make sure you get enough media to feed it. But with the metering valve, since it's on the very bottom, it's almost always going to have sand available for it, so you don't really have that issue anymore. And also, since you can regulate how much sand is being fed in there, say you need, you got a really delicate part and you just want to kind of touch it up with a little bit of abrasive media, you can adjust this valve and you can control it precisely how much media is being fed in there. So that's that. All right, now next modification that we've got is actually how we filter out all the sand and dust and stuff that's made as you're sandblasting, because it doesn't take long before all that dust and stuff that's being produced as you're sandblasting clouds this all up, and it's really hard to see in here. So what Harbor Freight gives you standard on the box is there's a hole right here. That's what you get at Harbor Freight, just like that. And what they have you do is they just have you like hooking up like shop vac or something like that to siphon out all of that dust and stuff. Well, with all that really fine dust and all that, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up clogging your shop vac pretty quick and possibly ruining it. So what we did is we went out to our Menards. You can go to like Home Depot or any kind of like hardware store. They're probably going to have it. But this is just 2-inch PVC pipe. And all you want to do is you want to get a 90-degree pipe like this. And you want to stick it on to that. Now, I'm pretty sure you're going to have to do this, but I know we had to, is with this 2-inch pipe, this black piece is just a stitch bigger than 2-inch for some reason. So this white pipe won't actually fit over it initially. What you have to do is you have to use your heat gun or get a heat gun or even a torch, a little like propane torch. And all you have to do is you just got to heat this plastic until it gets to a point where it's actually like movable and stuff, actually deform. And when you get to that point, all you want to do while it's, movable and hot is you get it fitted up in there, you let go of it, you let that cool. You don't touch it until that thing rehardens and is cool to the touch. Because then you'll have that like foreign seal that you just made, and this thing will be airtight. And what we did for this part, for the actual tubing, is we just used standard 2-inch shop vac hose that you get for your shop vac. I'll kind of show you that. Like most people, you get the, I don't know what size, like 1-inch size vacuum hose here, and then you can go out and you can buy 2-inch hose. This is what we got. So you just buy a thing of this and you cut it to the length of what you need. And you have that connected to yet another 90-degree fitting. You have to do the same procedure as in heating this up and then fitting it onto this to make it nice and airtight. And what this is a cyclone or a siphoner. So what happens is you hook up your shop vac right here, and as the shop vac is sucking, it's pulling in all of that dust and stuff through here, coming into here. And as you can see, kind of how the shape of this is the cylinder, whatever, that dust will swirl around. And the heavier stuff that's heavier than like air and all that dust, it's gonna fall down into here. And then what that does is it saves your vacuum a lot of debris and all that. That's more than likely gonna clog it up and kill it over time. So that's really nice. And what this is that's the brand that we got. There's the actual name. And all we used is we just used a 5-gallon bucket. You cut the bucket to the size of the opening of this, and then what we did is we used some of that foam that comes with the Harbor Freight sandblaster. You just get some one-sided foam and you put a little bit of foam around here, put it on, bolt it down, seal it, and you're all set there. This thing, extremely nice. Highly recommend it. Over the past couple years, we've probably filled this thing up 3-4 times of this super fine dust. Like the dust that gets suctioned out of this sandblaster, it's basically like flour. I mean, it is super fine stuff. So I can only imagine, you know, how quickly that stuff being sucked into a shop vac would kill it. So I guarantee, you know, this is well worth the investment. It's gonna save your shop vac, save you a lot of headache and stuff. So that's that upgrade. And the next modification we got is we got it where we've got this sandblaster mobile, because like a lot of things in our shop, we like to keep things mobile so we can always move it if we need extra space somewhere or need to move it for whatever reason. We've got our parts washer, we've got a press, and our drill press. It's all on wheels, so I mean, we're pretty versatile in the shop. We like to use every inch of it that we can for any kind of project that we have. And what we did to make this mobile is we got some 1/2 inch, or I think 5/8 plywood. We just cut out the base. We installed corners in the plywood there to keep the legs from trying to move around or anything. And then we also have a little outer piece where we actually put our 5-gallon bucket, and that's part of our filter system that we'll get to in just a second here. Well, I guess we just wanted to point out real quick too, I guess maybe some of you are kind of wondering why we got the foot pedal on kind of like a weird angle like that, and it's really just preference. I have that for me personally because that's just the most comfortable for me that I find to operate it. And what's nice about how I have it set up is right now, you know, you can see that it's got a bit of a gap there, so it's not going to be dragging or catching or anything like that. And all I have to do is I slide that piece of wood under there like that, and then that gives it support and all that. I don't have to worry about, you know, bending it or whatever. So that's just what I do. I find this angle to be most comfortable for me. You don't have to do it the same if you want to, you know, keep this board all one piece and just have this mounted flat. Totally up to you. I just found this position to be most comfortable for me. Yeah, and then all we did for the wheels, I mean, we just went, I think it was to Menards, and we just got some small little wheels. I'm a shorter guy, so I didn't want the cabinet to be too tall for me. If you're a taller guy, you might want to put, you know, maybe 2-3 inch wheels on it. Totally up to you, depending. I'm not really that particular about it. And another thing we recommend is the gloves. We got these set of gloves off Amazon. I forgot the brand, but we'll link it. Here's the brand. Right there. These are super nice gloves. They've been very durable compared to the Harbor Freight ones. Eventually those Harbor Freight cheap ones are going to want to rip at the seams and all that. And so we'll link these ones in the description. They're really nice for the money. They weren't that expensive. So recommend, you know, getting this cabinet. You might as well just throw in a nice set of actual sandblast gloves that'll hold up for a while. And then one final thing before we call it good on this video is some people might be kind of wondering, you know, how do you drain this? And you really got, like, you got two options. One option is, you take out this 1-inch nipple and that'll release all the sand pretty slowly. And what we did, we just took a 5-gallon bucket, we cut it to length or whatever. What we can do is we got it where, you know, we can get this bucket right in there, just like that. So we can take that 1-inch nipple out, or, you know, you can shove this in far enough, undo the latch, this latch will open. We've got it where it's going to clear most of that stuff just like that, and we can drain it that way. So that's just how you drain the unit, to refill it with sand that's not contaminated. Well, thanks for watching the video, guys, on our Sandblast cabinet here and our modifications to it. Feel free to use these modifications. That's why we do these videos. Why I do these videos is, you know, for you guys to use this information to improve your Sandblast cabinets, because I can't tell you how many hours I was on YouTube kind of just trying to look up this stuff, figure out which modifications were worth it, like how to do these modifications, all that stuff. And by far, I think these 7 modifications that we showed you today are the top ones that you really should do on your sandblast cabinet if you want a sandblast cabinet that works just like one of those, you know, couple grand sandblast cabinets without paying that premium price. So if you liked all the modifications and you've tried it yourself, give this video a like, subscribe, helps our channel out a lot so we can keep giving you guys videos like these. So thanks for watching. Have a good day.